You're ready. Okay, we're
I'm ready.
live through the mysteries of the internet.
Right.
All right. Okay, hello everybody. Howdy and welcome. So this week we are on with Crystal Lane and Jerry, and I'm sure many of you know Crystal from hanging out in chats and seeing her own video, like she did the one recently with the Strong's number, comparing it to the Virginia abortion law.
That was amazing. That was crazy to me.
It was. That was insanity. I never would have thought to look that up or compare it.
Well, you know, actually, I had somebody comment on my other video about abortion, Jonathan, and said, "Have you looked at the Strong's number?" I'm like, "No." But once I seen it, I was like, I have to make a short video about this. This is insanity, and people need to hear it. So I put a video out, and I hate making video, but you know what? The Lord is with me. Okay, so I mean, Yah's in charge. He said do it, so I jumped on the way to work. I was like, I'm gonna do this. So I wrote everything down out of the Strong's.
Cool. So we normally just read straight through on this.
Okay.
I'll do a chapter. You can do a chapter. Jerry can do a chapter, and we'll just go through it till it's done. Gwen won't be joining us today because she's got some other things to attend to. But she will be with us tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to be discussing about gnashing of teeth. That'll be fun.
That'll be interesting, yeah.
Yeah. So today we're reading Leviticus 1:1, going all the way through the end of chapter 5.
Okay.
And
yeah, I took a quick peek at it last night and was looking through it.
And then Isaiah 43:21 through 44:23, and Matthew 5:23 through 30.
Okay.
So, all right.
I love Isaiah.
Everybody, make sure everybody that you have gone to the bathroom, because we're going right. We're going right.
Yep.
Now, okay, Leviticus chapter 1. And the Lord called unto Moses and spake unto him out of the tabernacle of the congregation, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, If any man of you bring an offering unto the Lord, you shall bring your offering of the cattle, even of the herd and of the flock. If his offering be a burnt sacrifice of the herd, let him offer a male without blemish. He shall offer it of his own voluntary will at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation before the Lord. And he shall put his hand upon the head of the burnt offering, and it shall be accepted for him to make atonement for him. And he shall kill the bullock before the Lord, and the priests, Aaron's sons, shall bring the blood and sprinkle the blood round about upon the altar that is by the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. And he shall flay the burnt offering and cut it into his pieces. And the sons of Aaron, the priest, shall put fire upon the altar and lay the wood in order upon the fire. And the priests, Aaron's sons, shall lay the parts, the head and the fat, in order upon the wood that is on the fire, which is upon the altar. But his inwards and his legs shall he wash in water. And the priest shall burn all that on the altar to be a burnt sacrifice, an offering made by fire of a sweet savor unto the Lord. And if his offering be of the flocks, namely of the sheep or of the goats, for a burnt sacrifice, he shall bring it a male without blemish. And he shall kill it on the side of the altar northward before the Lord, and the priests, Aaron's sons, shall sprinkle his blood round about upon the altar. And he shall cut it into his pieces with his head and his fat. And the priest shall lay them in order on the wood that is on the fire, which is upon the altar. But he shall wash the inwards and the legs with water. And the priest shall bring it all and burn it upon the altar. It is a burnt sacrifice, an offering made by fire of a sweet savor unto the Lord. And if the burnt sacrifice for his offering to the Lord be of fowls, then he shall bring his offering of turtle doves or of young pigeons. And the priest shall bring it unto the altar and wring off its head and burn it on the altar. And the blood thereof shall be wrung out at the side of the altar. And he shall pluck away his crop with his feathers and cast it aside on the altar of the east part by the place of the ashes. And he shall cleave it with the wings thereof, but shall not divide it asunder. And the priests shall burn it upon the altar, upon the wood that is upon the fire. It is a burnt sacrifice, an offering made by fire of a sweet savor unto the Lord.
It's
All right, who's
amazing the
next?
precision. It's amazing.
It
And when
is.
any will offer a meat offering unto the Lord, his offering shall be of fine flour, and he shall pour oil upon it, and put frankincense thereon. And he shall bring it to Aaron's sons, the priest. And he shall take thereout his handful of the flour thereof, and of the oil thereof, with all the frankincense thereof. And the priest shall burn the memorial of it upon the altar, to be an offering made by fire of a sweet savor unto the Lord. And the remnant of the meat offering shall be Aaron's and his sons. It is a thing most holy of the offerings of the Lord made by fire. And if thou bring an oblation of a meat offering, bake it in the oven. It shall be unleavened cakes of fine flour mingled with oil, or unleavened wafers, anoint it with oil. And if thy oblation be a meat offering, bake it in a pan. It shall be of fine flour, unleavened, mingled with oil. Thou shalt part it in pieces and pour oil therein. It is a meat offering. And if thy oblation be a meat offering, bake it in the frying pan. It should be made of fine flour with oil. And thou shalt bring the meat offering that is made of these things unto the Lord. And when it is presented unto the priest, he shall bring it unto the altar. And the priest shall take from the meat offering a memorial thereof, and shall burn it upon the altar. It is an offering made by fire of a sweet savor unto the Lord. And that which is left of the meat offering shall be Aaron's and his sons. It is a thing most holy of the offerings of the Lord made by fire. No meat offering which ye shall bring unto the Lord shall be made with leaven, for ye shall burn no leaven, nor any honey in any offering of the Lord made by fire. As for the oblation of the firstfruits, you shall offer them unto the Lord, but they shall not be burnt on the altar for a sweet savor. And every oblation of thy meat offering shalt thou season with salt. Neither shalt thou suffer the salt of the covenant of thy God to be lacking from thy meat offering. With all thine offerings thou shalt offer salt. And if thou offer a meat offering of thy firstfruits unto the Lord, thou shalt offer for the meat offering of thy firstfruits green ears of corn, dried by the fire, even corn beaten out of full ears. And thou shalt put oil upon it, and lay frankincense therein. It is a meat offering. And the priest shall burn the memorial of it, part of the beaten corn thereof, and part of the oil thereof. And with all the frankincense thereof, it is an offering made by fire unto the Lord. Yeah. You want him to go on, Jonathan?
Yeah, if you want to
Chapter
read, Jerry, go ahead.
You want
Yeah,
to
I'm
read?
going for it. And if his offering is a sacrifice of peace offering, if he offers from the herd, whether it is a male or female, he will offer it without blemish before the Lord. And he will lay his hands on the head of his offering and kill it at the door of the tent of meeting. And Aaron's sons, the priests, will sprinkle the blood all around about the altar. And he will offer from the sacrifice of a peace offering an offering made by fire to the Lord. The fat that covers the innards and all the fat that is on the innards, the two kidneys and the fat that is on them, which is by the flanks and the lobe above the liver with the kidneys, he will take it away. And Aaron's sons will burn it on the altar on the burnt sacrifice, which is on the wood that is on the fire, an offering made by fire of a sweet savor to the Lord. And if the offering or an offering of peace offering to the Lord is of the flock male of female, he will offer it without blemish. If he offers a lamb for his offering, then he will offer it before the Lord, and he will lay his hands 8 on the herd of his offering and kill it in front of the tent of the king. And Aaron's sons will sprinkle its blood all around about the altar, and he will offer off the offerings of the peace offering, an offer made by fire to the Lord. Its fat and whole rump he will take it off hard by the backbone, and the fat that covers the innards, and all the fat that is on the innards, the 2 kidneys, and the fat that is upon them, which is by the flanks, and he will take them the lobe above the liver of the kidney, and the priest will burn it upon the altar, the food of the offerings made by the fire to the Lord, and it is his offering, and it is his offering is the goat. Then he will offer it before the Lord, and he will lay his hands upon his head and kill it in front of the tent of the meeting, and the sons of Aaron will sprinkle its blood upon the altar all around. And he will bring from it his offering, an offering made by fire to the Lord, the fat that covers the innards, and all that the fat is upon the innards, 2 kidneys, and the fat that is upon them, which is by the flanks, and he will take away the lobe above the liver with the kidneys, and the priest will burn them upon the altar. It is a food of the offering made by fire for a sweet savor. All the fat is the Lord's. It will be a perpetual statute for your generation throughout all your dwellings, that you eat neither fat nor blood. And the Lord spoke to Moses.
Wait. Slow down. Jonathan's turn.
Okay.
Yeah, chapter 4, Leviticus. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, If a soul shall sin through ignorance against any of the commandments of the Lord concerning things which ought not to be done, and shall do against any of them, if the priest that is anointed do sin according to the sin of the people, then let him bring for his sin which he hath sinned a young bullock without blemish unto the Lord for a sin offering. And he shall bring the bullock unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation before the Lord, and shall lay his hand upon the bullock's head, and kill the bullock before the Lord. And the priest that is anointed shall take of the bullock's blood, and bring it to the tabernacle of the congregation. And the priest shall dip his finger in the blood, and sprinkle of the blood 7 times before the Lord, before the veil of the sanctuary. And the priest shall put some of the blood upon the horns of the altar of sweet incense before the Lord, which is in the tabernacle of the congregation, and shall pour all the blood of the bullock at the bottom of the altar of the burnt offering, which is at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. And he shall take off from it all the fat of the bullock for the sin offering, the fat that covereth the inwards, and all the fat that is upon the inwards, and the 2 kidneys, and the fat that is upon them, which is by the flanks, and the caul above the liver, with the kidneys, it shall he take away. And it was taken off from the bullock of the sacrifice of peace offerings, and the priest shall burn them upon the altar of the burnt offering. And the skin of the bullock, and all his flesh, with his head, with his legs, and his innards, and his dung, even the whole bullock shall he carry forth without the camp unto a clean place, where the ashes are poured out, and burn him on wood with fire. Where the ashes are poured out shall he be burnt. And if the whole congregation of Israel sin through ignorance, and the thing be hid from the eyes of the assembly, and they have done somewhat against any of the commandments of the Lord concerning things which should not be done, and are guilty, when the sin which they have sinned against it is known, then the congregation shall offer a young bullock for the sin, and bring him before the tabernacle of the congregation. And the elders of the congregation shall lay their hands upon the head of the bullock before the Lord, and the bullock shall be killed before the Lord. And the priest that is anointed shall bring forth the bullock's blood to the tabernacle of the congregation. And the priest shall dip his finger in some of the blood and sprinkle it 7 times before the Lord, even before the veil. And he shall put some of the blood upon the horns of the altar, which is before the Lord, that is in the tabernacle of the congregation, and shall pour out all of the blood at the bottom of the altar of the burnt offering, which is at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. And he shall take all his fat from him and burn it upon the altar. And he shall do with the bullock as he did with the bullock for a sin offering. So shall he do with this. The priest shall make an atonement for them, and it shall be forgiven them. And he shall carry forth the bullock without the camp, and burn him as he burnt the first bullock. It is a sin offering for the congregation. When a ruler hath sinned and done somewhat through ignorance against any of the commandments of the Lord his God concerning things which should not be done, and is guilty, or if his sin wherein he hath sinned come to his knowledge, he shall bring his offering, a kid of the goats, a male without blemish. And he shall lay his hand upon the head of the goat and kill it in the place where they killed the burnt offering before the Lord. It is a sin offering. And the priest shall take the blood of the sin offering with his finger and put it upon the horns of the altar of burnt offering, and shall pour out his blood at the bottom of the altar of burnt offering. And he shall burn all his fat upon the altar, as the fat of the sacrifice of peace offerings. And the priest shall make an atonement for him as concerning his sin, and it shall be forgiven him. And if any one of the common people through ignorance, while he doeth somewhat against any of the commandments of the Lord concerning things which ought not to be done, and be guilty, or if his sin which he hath sinned come to his knowledge, then he shall bring his offering, a kid of the goats, a female without blemish, for his sin which he hath sinned. And he shall lay his hand upon the head of the sin offering, and slay the sin offering in the place of the burnt offering. And the priest shall take the blood thereof with his finger, and put it upon the horns of the altar of the burnt offering, and shall pour out all the blood thereof at the bottom of the altar. And he shall take away all the fat thereof, as the fat is taken away from off the sacrifice of peace offerings. And the priest shall burn it upon the altar for a sweet savor unto the Lord. And the priest shall make atonement for him, and it shall be forgiven him. And if he bring a lamb for a sin offering, he shall bring it a female without blemish. And he shall lay his hands upon the head of the sin offering, and slay it for a sin offering in the place where they kill the burnt offering. And the priest shall take of the blood of the sin offering with his finger, and put it upon the horns of the altar of burnt offering, and shall pour out all the blood thereof at the bottom of the altar. And he shall take away all the fat thereof, and the fat of the lamb is as the fat of the lamb is taken away from the sacrifice of the peace offerings. And the priest shall burn them upon the altar according to the offerings made by fire unto the Lord. And the priest shall make an atonement for his sin that he hath committed, and it shall be forgiven him.
Chapter 5. And if the soul sin and hear the voice of swearing, and is a witness, whether he has seen or known of it, if he do not utter it, then he shall bear his iniquity. Or if a soul touch any unclean thing, whether it be a carcass of an unclean beast, or a carcass of an unclean cattle, or the carcass of unclean creeping things, and if it be hidden from him, he also shall be unclean and guilty. Or if he touch the uncleanness of man, whatsoever uncleanness it be, that a man shall be defiled withal, and it be hid from him, when he knoweth of it, then he shall be guilty. Or if a soul swear, pronouncing with his lips to do evil, or to do good, whatsoever it be that a man shall pronounce with an oath, and it be hid from him, when he knoweth of it, then he shall be guilty in one of these. And it shall be when he shall be guilty in one of these, that he shall confess that he has sinned in that thing. And he shall bring his trespass offering unto the Lord for his sin which he has sinned, a female from the flock, a lamb or a kid of the goats for a sin offering. And the priest shall make an atonement for him concerning his sin. And if he be not able to bring a lamb, then he shall bring for his trespass which he hath committed 2 turtle doves or 2 young pigeons unto the Lord, one for a sin offering, and the other for a burnt offering. And he shall bring them unto the priest, who shall offer that which is for the sin offering first, and wring off his head from his neck, but shall not divide it asunder. Excuse me, guys. Oh. Okay. And he shall sprinkle of the blood of the sin offering upon the side of the altar, and the rest of the blood shall be wrung out at the bottom of the altar. It is a sin offering. And he shall offer the second for a burnt offering, according to the manner, and the priest shall make an atonement for him for his sin, which he has sinned, and it shall be forgiven him. But if he be not able to bring 2 turtle doves or 2 young pigeons, then he that sinned shall bring for his offering the 10th part of an ephah of fine flour for a sin offering. And he shall put no oil upon it, neither shall he put any frankincense therein, for it is a sin offering. Then shall he bring it to the priest, and the priest shall take his handful of it, even a memorial thereof, and burn it on the altar, according to the offerings made by fire unto the Lord. It is a sin offering. And the priest shall make an atonement for him, as touching his sin, that he has sinned in one of these, and it shall be forgiven him. And the remnant shall be the priest as a meat offering. And the Lord spoke unto Moses, saying, if a soul commit a trespass and sin through ignorance in the holy things of the Lord, then he shall bring for his trespass unto the Lord a ram without blemish out of the flocks, with thy estimation by shekels of silver, after the shekel of the sanctuary, for a trespass offering. And he shall make amends for the harm that he hath done in the holy thing, and shall add the 5th part thereto, and give it unto the priest. And the priest shall make an atonement for him with the ram of the trespass offering, and it shall be forgiven him. And if a soul sin and commit any of these things which are forbidden to be done by the commandments of the Lord, though he wist it not, yet he is guilty and shall bear his iniquity. And he shall bring a ram without blemish out of the flock, with thy estimation for a trespass offering, unto the priest, and the priest shall make an atonement for him concerning his ignorance wherein he erred, and wist it not, and it shall be forgiven him. It is a trespass offering. He has certainly trespassed against the Lord.
Wow.
Jonathan, I would have been killing animals so much.
I know that, but
I'm
you know
so
that
thankful for our Savior.
there's so much forgiveness in there.
Yes, yes, and I love the way Yahweh makes a way for every single circumstance, and I love the way it says, when it comes to your knowledge, once you are convicted of the situation, then you come to repentance and you bring it to Him by an offering. It's amazing the correlation.
It is.
I was looking at the first couple of chapters in the Strong's at the word offering, and one thing I thought was amazing is there's more than one meaning. There's like mainly 3 or 4 meanings, but like there's so many. Just in Leviticus 1 through 5, there's at least over 50 times the word offerings used, and there's at least 5 different Hebrew words for it.
Oh, I
So
know.
there are different meanings for it. That's what I was looking at. That's amazing. For more study.
All right. Jerry, you want to start with Isaiah 43?
Isaiah 43.
Yep. We start at verse 21.
Okay.
So it's almost the end of the chapter.
He's using my One New Man Bible, and he gets lost because it's in a different order from King James.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. So, like the Sefer, pretty much.
Right.
I get lost in it too, but I can find it. So he's like, yeah, but I gotta find it. And I'm like, okay. I'm just finding the King James
What is
file
it?
here.
Find it.
I'll find it here, and you can read in this one, and I'll find it in that one while you're doing it. Isaiah 43, right?
Yeah, 43:21 through Isaiah 44. Well, we'll take over at the end of 44, I guess.
Okay. So read from here
Okay.
to the end of 44, honey.
Oh,
Here.
here, 44.
From there to here. Yeah.
45.
Here we go.
Okay. This people have I formed for myself. They shall shew forth my praise. Show forth my praise. But
Mhm.
thou hast not called upon me, O Jacob, but thou hast been weary of me, O Israel. Thou hast not brought me the small cattle of my burnt offering, neither hast thou honored me with thy sacrifice. I have not caused thee to serve with an offering, nor wearied thee with incense. Thou hast brought me no sweet gain with money, neither hast thou filled me with the fat of thy sacrifices. But thou hast made me to serve with thy sins. Thou hast wearied me with thine iniquities. But I am he that blotteth out thy transgressions for mine own sake, and will not remember thy sin. Put me a remembrance. Let us plead together. Declare thou, and thou mayest be justified. Thy first father hath sinned, and thy teachers have transgressed against me. Therefore I have profaned the princes of the sanctuary, and have given Jacob to the first of Israel to reproaches. Yet now hear, O Jacob my servant, and Israel whom I have chosen. Thus saith the Lord that made thee, and formed thee from the womb, which will help thee. Fear not, O Jacob my servant, and thou, Jerusalem, whom I have chosen. For I will pour water upon him that is thirsty, and flocks upon thy dry ground. I will pour my spirit upon thee, thy seed, and my blessings upon thy offspring. And they shall spring up as among the grass, as willows by the water courses.
Mhm.
One shall say, I am the Lord's. Another shall say, shall call himself by the name of Jacob. And another shall subscribe with the hand unto the Lord, and surname himself by the name of Israel. Thus saith the Lord, the King of Israel, and his Redeemer, the Lord of hosts. I am the first, and I am the last, and beside me there is no God. And who as I shall call and shall declare it, and set it in order for me, since I appointed the ancient people, and the things that are coming and shall come, let them show unto them. Fear ye not, neither be afraid. Have not I told thee from the time, and have declared it? Ye are even my witnesses. Is there a God beside me? Yea, there is no God. I know not any. They that make a graven image are all of them vanity, and their delectable things shall not profit, and they are their own witness. They see not, nor know, that they may be ashamed. Who hath formed a god, or molten a graven image that is profitable for nothing? Behold, all his fellows shall be ashamed, and the workmen, they are of men. Let them all be gathered together, let them stand up, yet they shall fear, and they shall be ashamed together. The smith with the tongs both worketh in the coils, and fashioneth it with hammers, and worketh it with the strength of his arms. Yea, he is hungry, and his strength faileth. He drinketh no water, and is faint. The carpenter stretcheth out his rule. He maketh it out with a line. He fitteth it with planes, and he maketh it out with the compass, and maketh it after his figures of a man, according to the beauty of a man that may remain in the house. He heweth him down cedars, and taketh the cypress and the oaks with the strength for himself among the trees of the forest. He planteth an ash, and is arraigned, and rains does nourish it. Then shall it be for a man to burn, for he will take thereof and warm himself. Yea, he kindleth it and baketh bread. Yea, he maketh a god and worshipeth it. He maketh it a graven image and falleth down thereof. He burneth part thereof in the fire, with part thereof he catereth flesh. He roasteth roast, and he satisfied, yea, he warmeth himself, and saith, Ah, I am warm, I have seen the fire. And the residue thereof he maketh a god, even his graven image. He falleth down unto it, and worshipeth it, and prayeth unto it, and saith, Deliver me, for thou art my God. They have not known nor understood, for he hath shut their eyes. They cannot see, and their hearts they cannot understand, and none considereth of his heart. Neither is their knowledge, nor understandeth to say, I have burned part of it in the fire. Yea, also I have baked bread upon the coals thereof. I have roasted flesh and eaten it, and shall I make the residue thereof abomination? Shall I fall down to the rock of the tree? He feedeth on ashes. A deceived heart hath turned him aside, and he cannot deliver his soul, nor say, Is there not a lie in my right hand? Remember thee, O Jacob of Israel, for thou art my servant. I have formed thee, thou art my servant. O Israel, thou shalt not be forgotten of me. I have blotted out as a thick cloud thy transgressions, and as a cloud thy sins. Return unto me, for I have redeemed thee. Sing, O ye o heavens, for the Lord hath done it. Shout, ye lower parts of the earth, break forth into singing, ye mountains, O forests, and every tree thereof. For the Lord hath redeemed Jacob, and glorified himself in Israel. Thus saith the Lord, thy Redeemer, and he that formed thee from the womb. I am the Lord that maketh all things, that stretched forth the heavens along, that spreadeth abroad the earth by myself, that frustrateth the tokens of the liars, and maketh diviners mad, that turneth wise men backward, and maketh their knowledge foolish, that confirmeth the word of his servants, and performeth the counsel of his messengers, that saith to Jerusalem, Thou shalt be inhabited, and to be the cities of Judah, ye shall be built, and I will rise up the decayed places thereof, that saith to the deep, be dry, and I will dry up thy rivers. That saith of Cyrus, He is my shepherd, and shall perform all my pleasures. Even saying to Jerusalem, Thou shalt be built, and to the temple thy foundation shall be laid.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, Matthew 5:23 through 30.
Matthew 5:23. Okay.
Yep, through 30. And then once we're done with this, we'll stop this broadcast and
Okay.
get the other one rolling.
Okay,
Yeah.
sounds good.
So everybody make sure you're writing down all your questions and comments and observations.
Yeah.
You may not have noticed, or we may have missed something.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, verse 23, Matthew chapter 5. Therefore, if thou bring thy gift to the altar, and there rememberest that thy brother hath aught against thee, leave there thy gift before the altar and go thy way. First, be reconciled to thy brother, and then come and offer thy gift. Agree with thine adversary quickly, whilst thou art in the way with him, lest at any time the adversary deliver thee to the judge, and the judge deliver thee to the officer, and thou be cast into prison. Verily, I say unto thee, thou shalt by no means come out thence till thou hast paid the uttermost farthing. Ye have heard that it was said by them of old time, thou shalt not commit adultery. But I say unto you, that whosoever looketh on a woman to lust after her hath he committed adultery with her already in his heart. And if thy right eye offend thee, pluck it out and cast it from thee. For it is profitable for thee that one of thy members should perish, and not that thy whole body should be cast into hell. And if thy right hand offend thee, cut it off and cast it from thee. For it is profitable for thee that one of thy members should perish, and not that thy whole body should be cast into hell. Howdy, Gwen.
Hi. Hi, y'all.
How you doing?
Hey, special guests. We have a special guest.
I see that. I'm seeing like an elbow
Yeah, you're actually like
and a headless man.
He's kicking back on the bed.
Now I'm trying to hide back here in the corner.
I said, get up here. You're going to read too. He's like, okay.
Okay. So everybody meet us in the chat.
Okay.
Gwen and Crystal and Jerry, I'll send you the link in just a minute.
Okay.
So 5 minute restroom break and water break for everybody.
Sounds like a
And we'll see
plan.
you in just a minute.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.